Alright, so it seems like a lot of people are enjoying the show right now, myself included, and I hope they are able to keep this momentum throughout season 1 because I am pretty invested in this show. But of course, only time will tell. But anyway, let's finally get into the recap and theories for episode 4, A Rock and a Farway. So episode 4 starts out with a flashback of showing us young Victor, the only person who's actually still alive who's been in the town the longest. In the flashback, we see him emerging from the bunker where it looks like he spent the night hiding out from the monsters. After taking a look around, he is horrified by what he sees, which are several mutilated corpses lying around. So shit, apparently young Victor failed to mention to anyone that the bunker was a damn good hiding spot. What a selfish bastard. But I'm just kidding. Maybe his parents got murdered and he was forced to run off on his own. Who knows? But then we jump to a scene of current day creepy Victor as he draws a picture of Julie while she sleeps. Then Julie wakes up and is creeped out again by Victor, who begins to rhetorically ask her about dreams that are probably forgotten memories, but how you don't really realize that until you actually remember these moments from the past. Which was actually kinda some deep shit from Victor, I must say. But once again, he is only successful at creeping her out. But he proceeds to tell Julie that he's starting to remember things that he thought were dreams, which was more than likely referencing the opening scene that we saw with his younger self. But he then gives Julie the drawing and goes about his business. So yes, Victor is strange, but you can also tell that he's very misunderstood as well. And to be fair, you can't really expect someone to be normal who grew up in a place like this. So we kinda have to give Victor the benefit of the doubt at the moment. But after another encounter with Victor, Julie gets to meet Trudy, who wants her pillow back, and also reveals to Julie that she went through her clothes and took her shirt, because at Colony House, they share everything. Yeah, to hell with that. I'm saying take my damn shirt off. But Julie, who wants to go with the flow of how things work at Colony House, allows Trudy to borrow the shirt. Then we cut to Boyd, who's cleaning up the mess that the monsters made while ripping Frank a new asshole the night before. Straight savages. Then we cut to a scene of Sarah entering the diner where she finds Kenny's mom, Mrs. Lou, crying at the bar, of course over the death of her husband, which she killed. Afterwards, we jump to the Matthews family where we finally find out that Thomas was a baby. Tabitha mentions how Thomas used to stop crying just as the sun would come up, and how the mornings remind her of him. In this moment, Tabitha also asks Jim if he thinks that they are being punished because of their new unfortunate circumstances. And if I had to guess, I would say that she's implying here that they may have had something to do with Thomas's death, or they feel responsible somehow, and that's probably why they ended up in town, which might be true. But I personally don't think that that has anything to do with the reason why they ended up there, but then again, who knows. But after this, Jim takes Ethan to go get pancakes at the diner, while Tabitha claims she wants to stay back and unpack. On their way to the diner, they see Sheriff Boyd, who's trying to discreetly take Frank's body to Father Cautry to be buried, which I'm pretty sure Jim picks up on this and shields Ethan from seeing anything traumatizing, like a dead man's foot poking out from underneath the canvas. But then we see Boyd leaving the body with Father Cautry, where he laughs after being asked to attend the service because he feels like Father Cautry was the one who wanted Frank dead in the first place, which Father Cautry didn't like too much. Then we cut to Kenny, who finds Jade at the bunker, where he explains to Kenny that he saw the dead guy and the symbol. But Kenny's not really convinced, and Jade gets a bit frustrated that no one seems to be focused on finding a way out of this place. Which once again, Jade makes a good point, like, okay, so we're just gonna chill out now? Like no one really feels like trying to escape this place? Then Kenny tells Jade to follow him to the sheriff's station, aka post office. Meanwhile, back at the diner, Ethan tells Jim how he thinks they are trapped in the town because it's a quest, and how they might need to save someone if they want to go home. Ethan also tells Jim how sometimes he pretends that Thomas went on a magical quest and how he needs to help him save the kingdom. This might be some foreshadowing, but Jim has to take 5 after that and heads to the restroom. During this time, Victor walks in and tells Ethan that the trees have indeed moved 4 inches inward, and he also confirms with the drawing that him and Ethan are seeing the same kid in white. But then Jim comes out of the restroom, tells Victor to stay away from Ethan, and throws his ass out of the diner. Which again, yes, Victor is probably just misunderstood, but in this situation, I have to side with Jim. I mean, come on, what parent wouldn't do what he did? I mean, you can't really have some weird guy just hanging around your kid. Then we cut to a scene of Julie where we find out she is starting to regret her decisions on joining the colony house, but like the superwoman she is, Fatima swoops in to the rescue and takes Julie with her to hang out, where they also discuss how Trudy ain't shit for taking everyone's clothes. Julie then gets approached by her mother Tabitha, who's returning her sweater, and would like her to come back home with her so they can all stick together as a family. But instead, Julie throws a damn fit and reveals that she knows that her parents are planning to get a divorce and how they've been trying to keep it a secret. She also expresses how she feels like they've just forgotten about her and Ethan since Thomas died. Yeah, so Julie is very naive currently and is being that bratty kid that we just love to hate. So hopefully nothing happens to her parents so she's not looking stupid and regretful later and thinking to herself, why wasn't she more forgiving to her parents? Hopefully we don't have that situation. Then we cut back to Kenny and Jade, who are now at the police station, where Kenny explains to Jade how everyone there entered from different locations around the country. Jade then gets frustrated again during this time and runs off with the radio after it goes off while him and Kenny are talking, which was honestly very interesting because wherever they are, they seem to be receiving some type of signal. Now, is that a signal from the outside world, or is that some sort of signal from this portal or the afterlife or some shit like that? Meanwhile, Jim and Tabitha meet back at home where they proceed to argue about the problems in their marriage. During this time, Victor sneaks over to their house to get Ethan so they can go search for the kid in white. He tells Ethan that they must search for the kid because the boy chose him the same way he chose Ethan. You know, I noticed in this scene that Victor walks like he shit himself. Also, this is kidnapping, Victor. What the hell are you doing? Then we jump to a scene of Boyd repairing the box while him and Father Catri try to sort out their differences surrounding the recent tragedies in the town. And during this dispute, we find out a couple interesting things. And that's the fact that Boyd was the one who actually found the talismans, and how he blames himself for not being able to save his wife. But we don't find out exactly what happened to her just yet. And of course, we don't get any answers on how Boyd found the talismans or how he figured out how to use them. So I guess they're keeping those tricks up their sleeves for later. Then in the woods, Victor tells Ethan how he didn't think that the kid in white was real, and that the last time he saw the kid was the last time two cars entered the town at the same time. Ethan also brings up the question of how Victor ended up there and what happened to his parents, but Victor aggressively tells Ethan that they shouldn't talk about that. You know, I'm really hoping that we don't find out that Victor has something to do with his parents' death or some crazy shit like that, because I'm trying to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, but with episode 4, he's making it very difficult. Ethan also confirms during this time that Thomas died when he was a baby, which by this point we already knew that. But they finally see the kid in white in the woods, and we jump back to Jim and Tabitha, who finally discover that Ethan is missing. Then back in the woods, Ethan and Victor lose track of the kid in white, but they come across something very interesting, a Farway tree, which are magical trees all around the area that will teleport objects to random locations. Victor demonstrates this to Ethan by drawing a smiley face on a rock and dropping it inside the tree, and it lands behind them. And Victor also reveals that it works with people. See, something's starting to make me think that Victor's been throwing people's asses inside of these trees, because I don't know, maybe not, but it's still kind of funny to think about. Then Victor starts hearing dogs barking, and we start seeing images of his past, like his memories are rushing back to him or something. And while looking for Ethan in the woods, Jim and Tabitha are being surrounded by wild dogs. But then all of a sudden they are both saved by Victor, who fires a gun in the air to scare the dogs away. But in this moment, Jim is more set on beating the shit out of Victor for basically kidnapping his kid, which, I mean, you can't really blame the guy. But also in this moment, Victor is ready to catch a body, but Jim makes the smart decision by choosing not to aggressively approach a man who has a gun in his face. So yes, smart move, Jim. Live to fight another day. Afterwards, the Matthews head back home, and we also see Victor back at his place searching through his drawings for a picture of a dog from when he was a kid, because I guess he's starting to remember now about the dogs that appeared in the woods. Then in another flashback, we see young Victor following the kid in white through a town of slaughtered people. And back in his room in the current day, we see Victor hanging up a drawing of a dog, a kid in white, a faraway tree, and a town massacre, which seems to be pointing to a series of events that might be about to repeat themselves. But later, Jim confronts Boyd about Victor kidnapping Ethan and having a gun in his lunchbox. Then we cut to a scene of Fatima and Ellis surprising Julie with a bed and a little personal space of her own, which we know know is definitely needed in the colony house, especially with old people having sex right beside you while you're trying to sleep. Then later we see Boyd having dinner with the Matthews with the goal of just trying to get to know each other a little bit better. But while having dinner, Sarah gets a message behind the bar that's mysteriously carved into her arm that tells her to kill the boy while she looks over at Ethan. Then she falls to the floor and has a seizure, which now makes her the second person in the show that we've seen to have a seizure. The first person was Ethan in episode 1 after the crash. So yeah, that's sort of something to think about. Then the episode ends with Victor digging several graves, and after he's approached by Donna, who's wondering what the hell he's doing, he tells her that he's just trying to get a head start this time, which I must say is very creepy, but Victor is putting together the puzzle, but for some reason the only person he shares it with is Ethan. But like I said in my first video, I guess he's only doing that because he feels like Ethan is the only person that will believe him, which is so unfortunate. But at least now we have a little bit more context on why Julie chose the colony house. Also, what the hell are Farway trees? Like, man, that shit just kind of came out of left field, right? But I can't lie, I fucking love it. I love the randomness of just showing us that there are magical trees in this world. Also, we're getting some interesting information on why this kid in white is showing up and what it might mean. So like, I guess every time he shows up, there's going to be a large massacre, slaughtering of people, maybe? I don't know. And this whole time I was thinking his ass meant something good, but I don't know. And we also get confirmation that the trees are actually moving, which is very interesting. So tell me below, what do you guys think is going to happen when the trees actually get a lot closer to town? Because technically, even if the trees did get really close to their homes, they still wouldn't really be able to get inside because they have the talisman. So, and they could still walk around in the woods in the daytime. So I don't know, maybe that makes things a little bit more difficult. Maybe the trees are going to fucking cave their houses in or something, who knows. Also, why is Victor keeping his history there a secret? That kind of tells me that he may have done something sort of malicious that we just can't know about yet. So I don't know, we might want to keep an eye on Victor because he might turn out to be a bad guy. But as usual, you guys should definitely let me know your thoughts down below. But there you have it, and if you enjoyed the content, you know what to do. Thank you guys for watching.